Hi there, Sandra here from createinspain. Today I wanted to show you a little stenciling trick, and hopefully it's one that you might find useful. I've got all sorts of stencils that I've made. This one happens to be a card stencil, which I class as disposable. If you're doing it with a plastic stencil, then you can have some water in a dish on your desk. Put the stencil in when you're done and you can clean it off. Because it's very hot here at the moment and acrylic stuff is drying faster than the speed of light, and because it's too hot for me to want to spend time washing my stencils, I'm using a card one. So I have a piece of card. Now the problem with stenciling on card, if you're using anything really from a paint to texture paste, whatever, is that the card absorbs the water and then it wrinkles, and sometimes you can sort that out afterwards and sometimes you can't. It's a lot easier if you don't have the wrinkling to start with. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you with a very obvious example, because I have a black surface here and the white on the other side, but it is, take it from me, the same piece of card. So I'm going to put my stencil roughly half over, and I'm just going to get some gloss gel. This one happens to be Liquitex. You don't have to go for a branded one. I did have a cheaper one, but it's run out. But if you're doing much in the way of stenciling, then an acrylic gel is a really useful thing to have. It comes in different weights. This one is a medium. You can get thinner ones, you can get thicker ones. The thicker it is, the less water it has in it. But on the other hand, if you want a smooth surface, then thinner ones are easier to smooth. I'm just going to put a little bit of this medium on my paper because this is just being lazy. Okay, and so you can see it, I'm going to get some glitter and put a little bit of glitter in it. Not too much because I don't want it to be all glitter, but just so you can see where it's going, really and truly. I could have put colour in it, but I decided to go for glitter instead. Why not? I have a lot of it. So use the same technique on both sides. Obviously one's going to be white, one's going to be black, but other than that, the same technique. I'm just using a palette knife to put it on. Oops. I have an entire bag filled with bottles and containers and things, and I'd used it earlier and obviously hadn't stacked it in there very well. It's just fallen on the floor. Sorry about that. Right, I'm going to do the same thing with the black side, and then when I've done that, I'll just leave it to dry and show you the difference. So this has been allowed to dry overnight, so now you can see the real effect of it when it's dried. This looks really pretty. I'm very impressed with that actually. It does show up beautifully against the black. Now this one might look flat when you look at it from this side, but if you look at it from the back, it is still a little bit warped. I don't know if you can easily see. Ah, yeah, okay, now you should be able to see it. So, you know, that one is still somewhat warped. Now, the type of vinyl I used, I mean, this was the black one, and I managed to go out and find some white this morning because I'd run out of white. So this is 2 metre by 45, and in my local Chinese it cost me all of €1.50. Self-adhesive decoration. It's usually sold for the purpose of covering school books or, you know, to cover kitchen shelves or something like that. You could, for example, do designs on something like that. If you were doing a very strong colour, you could get away with it and it would look pretty spectacular. And so this one was $1.35. This one is ancient. I bought it from a Chinese shop that's since closed. So this must be, because I bought 2 rolls at the time and I was still using one of them. This must be about 5-6 years old, I'm thinking. But you could also do it on top of metallics, you know, gold or silver, that sort of thing, and that would create some very good effects. A couple of tips for when you want to cover something with vinyl. Cut your vinyl so that it is slightly larger and so that you can leave just a little bit on one side. This will help you to put the vinyl down in the correct place. If you try and line up corner to corner, the chances are you're not going to get it quite right. It's much easier to cut it ever so slightly larger, and you can trim off the excess. The other thing is to make sure that both your card and your surface are lump free. If you were to have, for example, a bit of grit or a bit of glitter or something under your surface and you press it down, it will probably show on the surface here, and you really don't want that. But apart from that, it's pretty easy to use. And as you can see here, I've got this really nice smooth surface to do my stenciling on. Now you could, if you wanted to, use photographic card instead, something with, it's not a photographic card, something with a glossy surface. Okay, those will sometimes work quite nicely as well. But fewer people have photographic paper around these days because we don't tend to print so much. So it's also relatively expensive when you can buy a large amount of vinyl for that kind of price. I apologise if you can hear a lot of background noise. I have my fan on above me on maximum speed because the humidity here at the moment is about 83%. It's very hot and I am literally melting. If only when it got hot, that melted away. I'd be a size 2 by now, it'd be lovely. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. I just get all hot instead. So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will see you again soon. Take care now. Bye bye.